Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. This is KCYP 97.7 FMLP, the city. This is DJ Destiny here on RGV Rocks. KCYP 97.7 FMLP, the city is a nonprofit organization that promotes local artists such as myself and as well as the people within the Zoom call. This and also the home of indie music. We are now accepting donations through our website, www.thecity977.com, as well as sponsorships to keep this radio station thriving. For more information on paying donations, sponsorships, or business advertisement, feel free to contact Joe Martinez at 956-789-0702 or by email at martinezjoe@hotmail.com. I'll also be leaving the donation links for our Cine El Rey and as well as the station in the descriptions below. And for people that don't know who we are, RGB Rocks is a radio show and now an online podcast dedicated to the local talent, events, and all the wonderful people in the RGV, such as you and I. Do you want to introduce you guys for the
Right.
audience?
Yeah. I'm Mino. I am one half of ValleySwerve.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Shade Knox. I'm the other half of ValleySwerve.
And I want to thank you guys for joining us here today on our show. We're very glad to have you on our show today, especially since we had like a little break before doing this episode. So I'm very pleased to meet you guys and as well as get to interview you guys as well.
I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks for having us.
It wasn't for Shay Knox. He was reminding me about the interview. I'm like, oh shoot, that's right. That's Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
without
it's
him.
been busy. A lot of things
Yeah.
to kind of remember here and there.
Yeah, quite a lot of stuff to talk about, quite honestly. So.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, we do pre-recorded interviews. So if you guys want to hit us up, actually tell us on the rgvrocks@gmail.com. Just hit us up there and we'll be able to get you an interview. But actually going into the interview, I'm very pleased to have you guys again. But let's start off the interview, shall we? So tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about the Rio Grande Valley.
So I'm right? I've been making music for about a decade. Just kind of in and out of like different flavors of like indie, rock, electronic. But when me and Shay met up, we started like doing hip hop beats. So that's kind of been like our forte, mostly hip hop centric with some different flavors of like house and disco and electronica, and just kind of recently playing more showcases with that Tropicasa, and then recently this past Grassfed, and just kind of being more involved with other art projects that are coming up, especially in this coming month in August. And I do like that. I feel kind of mid or post pandemic, a lot of the artists who have been sitting in the RGV have been like, really like, oh, I got to get out there, I got to start making stuff, and just we have like kind of like this new um, artsy renaissance, I suppose, that's like kicking off like the beginning of this decade, and I feel like it's very passionately fueled by a lot of just being like compressed and inside our houses and wanting to get out there and be more expressive. And I think a lot of people are very eager to be expressive with their art, and I do see like that thrive in the valley versus other parts of like the different scenes in Texas. So that's what I do admire about it so far. And
Yeah, everything said is true. I've been playing music for 10 to 15 years now. I started on guitar. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I'm currently based in Austin, so my main connection to the valley is to Eno. But what I really like about the valley is the open-mindedness of people down there and the willingness to experiment with different sounds. So yeah, that's it for my part.
Hmm. So tell me more about like what you guys do, because you guys do beats.
yeah.
I noticed the little Vocaloid in the back.
Oh yes, me too. Actually, okay, so we have we could do like a quick shout out. We got this from Mandela Toys. He's an amazing
Yeah, shout out at Toy Mandala. He's a shop in LA. We met about a month or so ago. Sells great stuff, and obviously when we saw the Miko figurine, we just had to get it. So yeah, big shout out to him.
I was gonna
yes.
ask, what's it called? Because like I've noticed like a lot. You guys do a lot of producing, and I've noticed that there's not really many producers here in the valley. So
Hmm.
what do you like doing about that? Do you just like doing it just because, or because that you feel that as an artist that it's well mandatory?
Well, you know, as as I mentioned earlier, so me meeting up with Shay, that we wanted to start making hip hop beats to sell and market to rappers and like hip hop R&B performers, and then I guess slowly, while we've done quite a lot of beats for that. I guess we also decided transitioning to like being like artist producers. You know, like how Flume, Flying Lotus, those producers have like been like more of like the artist sphere than like the production for rapper sphere, and just like thinking like what I thought, because there are quite a lot of producers that I've met through uh the hip hop rapper Facebook group that's locally based here in the RGV, and I don't think a lot of them have played live, and it's kind of hard to integrate that live because it's either going to be like a DJ set, or you somehow have to replicate some of your beats live and how you do that. And so um working with uh Beatbox Instruments, otherwise known as Rhythmo Labs, on Instagram, like they've created like this really neat controller device that's out of cardboard, and then us both having one, we were like, you know what, yeah, we should be able to do this live with that, kind of like it looks like a like because these beats are replicatable if you could just sample them and then trigger them individually. And I think which has been like a big scene, like the beat scene in LA, just trying to kind of take that aesthetic and like bring that over here to the RGV. I feel like that's just something that could start recently, and I guess we just want to set example of like, yeah, this is definitely enjoyable live, and I think people vibe it, and like seeing people do these beats live, even if it's sloppy or raw, like it gives it that live feel, and that's kind of like what my vision has been this past year, is trying to make that more uh, accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And just to chime in, so from my perspective, I like writing beats because you can go at your own pace. You can take your time with it. You can come back to it. You can edit your session. Now the thing about beats is that you always start writing beats, but eventually, for me at least, the end goal was to send it to people so that they could rap over it or sing or whatever. So from there, usually what ends up happening is that you send them the beat, they send you back vocals, then you start slowly expanding into mixing and mastering, because we try to be a one-stop shop, meaning we try to write, mix, master, arrange, produce. We do a little artwork too, still images, video visuals. We actually got a project coming up with Media Fest in, I think it's the third week of August. We got a little project going on there, which is kind of multimedia. It's both music and film. So for me, it was always a natural progression to, start on quote unquote just beats, and then from there expand to more, full songs, or so to speak. So
Okay. And about that little project, can you tell us like more about it?
Oh, Medifest.
yeah, go,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
Medifest.
let you know, start.
Yeah. So Medifest is sponsored by Truca RGV. I don't know if you're aware of a man named Andres Sanchez, but he's been very much like a curating hub, like out in the 956 and Ramus Media, for cultivating a bunch of acts here, and well, not even just musicians, but artists, and trying to gather as many like these installations and like visibly as possible. And so what he working with Truca, they decided to have like this first time festival, Vita Fest, that's going to be actually hosted in the incubator, McAllen Incubator on Main Street. Funny enough, right across from, I guess the city, right? The city station's also based inside the incubator. Um, but it's going to be a film and art installation festival on the opening floor, designately with different segments for both like the screening for the film entries and for physical art installations. And a lot of people that have been promoted, that have been on the flyer, are are either teaming up or working individually on their own projects. And so we recruited uh, to collaborate with Italia, who's based out of Brownsville, Italia 182, who has that very famous TikTok single Kawaii Life. So we're collaborating with her to make like our own film project that we don't want to kind of like give too much details because it's like, we're gonna build up the what it is. So
Yeah, it's still secret, right?
Yeah, it's still kind of secret. We can give you some premises.
We're still producing, but some
yeah.
sneak peeks will be coming online here shortly. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, also just real quick, big shout out to Andres for putting together the festival and being real cool to work with. And obviously big shout out to Italia as well. We just got her vocal backs a couple days ago and they're sounding great. We wrote an original song for that. So we are really excited to, release it in time for that. So yeah.
No, I was gonna ask, what's it called? Since you guys have named ValleySwerve, how did that come to be?
Actually, Shay could explain that one because.
Oh, really?
All right,
so it's his baby. I was like, he came up with the perfect.
Yeah, I came up with the words. So obviously, Valley is a nod to the Rio Grande Valley. I like the word itself. Swerve. I mean, it sounded good with Valley at the time, and you're not gonna lie. In today's world, to make it online, you need to be search optimized and things like that, and you need a name that stands out. Well, you don't need it, but it helps to have a name that stands out, that's not been taken already, that when you're coming up with a profile name, a handle.
Yeah,
I was looking for something where I would not have to use a bunch of special characters and numbers when you're at whatever on Twitter or Instagram. So that name just happened to fit all of those criteria, I guess you could say. And yeah, I just called Eno. It was a couple years ago now, and he was down with it, so we just went with it.
It's so cool because what's it called? I was always wondering. I was like, why did they call us ValleySwerve? Is it because of the? Because I noticed you guys do a lot of visuals too. So I was like, maybe because like swirly.
Swirly, yeah. I mean, Swerve's.
We can explore that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rap, onomatopoeia lyric staple, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some ad libs out there that say that word. Plus, I mean, not a whole lot of words that start with SW. And again, I thought it looked kind of different, I guess. Some less used nice letters.
Font, yeah.
Yeah. It just felt right,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now, I was gonna say, sorry to interrupt, but continuing about like the origin of ValleySwerve, you mentioned that Shay, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the original ValleySwerve.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's the I call him like the main founder because he's the one that conceptualized the whole idea. Like, yo, let's work together, make beats, and he's the one that came with the name. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like the brainchild, and I just kind of filled in my vision along the way. And that's just kind of been like the merging of the two.
I mean, Eno's definitely been the face of this band duo, however you want to call it. He's been very active. So big shout out to him, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we worked on a couple of different projects before. We've been doing music way before ValleySwerve became a thing. So for me, it was just continuing that collaboration we started so many years ago. And so yeah, it's both of us. Just want to make that clear. It's Shay Knox and Eno equals ValleySwerve, I guess.
I'm so Valley, he's Swerve.
Yeah, something like that.
How did you guys meet?
Actually, we met in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, funny story. Well, I think it's a pretty cute story in my opinion. We both attended UT Austin, which is how he's still there. He actually got a nice job over there.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, and I'm like the guy who I kind of really self-explore myself after graduating. But anyhow, so backstory. So meeting at UT, we both lived in the same dormitory freshman year. I printed out a bunch of flyers because not a lot of people from my class I graduated Mission High. So not a lot of people here went, besides my roommate at the time, attended UT in 2011. So we're old late 20-year-olds, millennials. But anyhow, I printed out a bunch of flyers that saying, hey, I'm a guitarist and looking to jam with other people. I played metal, rock, soul, jazz. Now I'm more of a jazz player, and blues, and collaborate with me or hit me up. And here's my literal phone number, so I just put it out there. And then I got in trouble with the RAs and the dorms because I literally went to every single floor of the dorm, and they told me, hey, you can't do this. You need requests from us from every single floor. So they just tore out like all my flyers, and like they're only up there for about a day.
But thankfully, just in time, I saw one of those flyers, gave him a call, and we've been doing some type of music ever since, pretty much.
Yeah, he literally called me like 5 hours after I stapled them all, and I'm like, wow, that was a neat enough window, because like there's just so many students just passing by that it's kind of like even like at the union at UTRGV, you know, like I'm pretty sure if you post something there, people just see it instantaneously. So that was the magical moment. If I never made those flyers, then I was never gonna meet
Yeah, pretty much.
Shay, honestly. Yeah.
Wow. So it's from then on, it's kind of been like a whole entire
Oh yeah,
partnership.
we've been entirely inseparable. Like we talk like every single day, and that was like what, 10 years ago? Dang.
I mean, it's gonna be 10 years now. Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
boy, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, so that's how long we know each other.
Yeah,
And-
pretty much.
And before ValleySwerve came to be, what were you guys separate artist names, or how did that work?
We were actually in a band, in a post-rock band called Soma Divine, who was frontlined by a man named Nocturne. Is at Phantom Lux.
At Phantom Lux, yeah.
Yeah, Phantom Lux. I guess we all met through me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
We were all actually, all three of us, Phantom Lux and Shay and me, were all in the same dormitory, and we've all known each other since then for about 10 years. And we played a couple of shows, worked on a really long double release album, and our early EP stuff is still available on Spotify and Apple, as along with Bandcamp. So Soma Divine was the name of the project. Post rock. It was a post rock trio, which we actually, how we kind of like learned a lot about music production together, about mixing EQ. It was a real big stepping stone for us, even if the music was not at all like our hip hop funky stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we worked on before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Considering like your music genre and things like that, what do you guys consider yourself to be as? Or even then, like, is it experimental, like what's it called? And now you have like a lot of like lo-fi too.
Yeah, I would just say what our bio is: a hip hop electronic duo.
Yeah,
because that's just
yeah.
the umbrella of it. It is very much mostly hip hop lo-fi based, but we did a lot. We started with trap beats. We still have a ton of trap beats there. Funk, FONK, you know, like Memphis style stuff. Like
Yeah, we've
really
definitely explored
808.
many genres. I know we tried a couple reggaeton beats here and there. Maybe more to come here.
Yeah,
Maybe
more
not one
elaborate.
day. But I personally like exploring many different genres and seeing, you know, what clicks, what feels right. There's always something to be learned exploring different genres too, you know. So
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And what's it called? And then going into like the whole beat situation, what's it called? That do you usually have an idea of how to make these beats, or they just come up in spontaneously and just have like your idea and then you just call each other about it? Like the whole...
Shay actually started making rap beats much earlier than me. He's had like a stronger foundation, especially with like modern trap sounds, you know, like the heavy percussion and stuff. And he taught me a lot about rap hip hop producing, especially like vocals, like mixing vocals and rap is so much different from a lot of other commercial styles, because just the overall like clarity that a voice needs to be, like every lyric matters and all that.
Yeah.
You know, the enunciation and just the amount of clarity that hip hop has, even though it's still very gritty most of the time, but like as far as like things are very upfront. And so coming from a more ambient, like post rock is very ambient based, right? It's very soundscapey. So going from very wet sounds to very dry sounds, I had a very difficult time with production, but he taught me a lot, because he started on GarageBand on his little Mac Pro.
Yeah,
Wow.
little computer.
Yeah.
It took a while, and I mean, I'm definitely still learning. I'm not gonna say I'm even remotely good yet, but likewise, I also learned a lot from, you know, I know especially a lot of future funk, vaporwave, things like that. It's been definitely an exchange between us, and every day we still. I need to. So we're primarily based on Ableton as a production DAW software, so to speak. And yeah, every time I learn something new, I'll give a call. I'll be like, all right, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. You know, anything that can help us get the sound that we want, that we hear. So when it comes to inspiration, I mean, man, that one's hard. anything we hear in real life can be inspiration. Let's say even a washing machine that has a certain, let's say you left some coins in your pants or pockets, and you hear them in the washing machine. Sometimes they'll have like a rhythmic sound to them that could be a source of inspiration, so, or it could be other songs. So it's really case by case basis, I'd say.
I know this might be a cheesy example, but did you ever remember that film from 2010? It was like the end of the last decade or the decade before, August Rush. It was about like that young kid who was like who became like a prodigy composer, and like even though it was very like cheesy of like Oscar bait kind of movie, he would just be walking in public and just be hearing all the soundscapes of like where he walked in like any urban or like rural environment, and then it would just be like nature itself, or like just the world is its own orchestra. And that's kind of like which it was. I found that
Yep.
more relatable now, because like we've literally sampled cars, we sampled train rides, we sampled passing by airplanes, like, and we just manipulate them into like individual like instrument sounds, like they're not even what they used to be, and just like all that audio manipulation from like the real world just becomes I guess that like literally the world itself is inspirational.
Yeah, and that's also a big reason I was drawn to this, let's say, big genre that we do these days, as opposed to maybe a more traditional band-based music, is because you can really use any sounds. You don't have to be bound by a certain type of instrument. Not that you need to follow the rules for other genres perfectly either, but let's say you're a rock band, you're a 4-piece band, 2 guitars, 1 bass, 1 drum. It's going to be a little harder to use different instruments all the time, but here, like, we can pull up our computer or software. It can use literally any sound. Yeah, just like clapping your hands, record yourself on your iPhone, drop that in the piano roll, and then you can start doing crazy stuff with that. So that was really what drew me to this genre in the first place, and what I still love to do, even when I'm bored. Just pull up a new session and start playing around. Doesn't matter if the song makes it or not, because sometimes I know I've had a lot of, let's say, beats that are never going to make it, but just there was one thing I did in those that I was like, oh wow, this is cool, I can do this little maneuver, and then on the next beat I'll be able to use that, and hopefully, if everything goes well, it'll give it that little extra edge that hopefully will make it stand out, or not, but that's how it goes usually.
And you mentioned what's it called, Tropicasa, and as well as a couple of other places before. Have you guys performed regularly, or what's it called, do you have any up and coming like shows?
As far as shows, like performance shows, not yet at the moment, but the Medifest, which is what we're very very hyped about, it'd be more like a presentation. And even though it's not a live like showcase musically, what we're presenting is very much like a very like sincere project that we're like a message, a commentary in it that we want to present. And I think that it's just as much as like an experience as like being at a live show, but in a festival, like it's a calmer environment, like kind of like the South by Southwest like film festival.
Yeah.
Just like having different venues, and then just like turning them into makeshift theaters, and everyone's sitting in front of like these unique presentations. That's kind of like what the Medifest is, but I guess I can compare it to, but just one screen or maybe 2 screens. I'm not sure what the layout would be. But we're trying to get some shows in Los Angeles. That's like our next move, is just like emailing a bunch of venues over there, because
yeah, and see who will have us really.
Yeah, we're trying to plan like a cool like what's the word, like pilgrimage to LA, to like the real heart of like the beat scene, and
yeah, pay our respects.
Yeah, and then a lot of the anime stuff that's there, because LA has a huge anime culture, and that's our next move. So we don't have anything set in stone, and if anyone's watching this clip right now or when it's posted, like y'all want to give us some shows, hit us up, because we definitely would love to. But yes.
Speaking about like anime and its culture, how did you guys come up with the mascot?
Okay, so that sorry,
I'll let Eno answer that one, because he is the mastermind on all that.
Okay, so ValleyChan, which is kind of a placeholder name, it's not a true name, because it just doesn't sound too great to me. I've gone like oh yeah, it's a cool name. Now it's a lame name. But our mascot essentially, I noticed Che mentioned future funk and vaporwave, and I know that not everyone knows what those genres are, but essentially those are very Japanese aesthetic derived genres that rely a lot sometimes on like anime visuals. And a lot of my favorite producers, my favorite producer based out of Mexico City, uh, Macross 8299, he, along with like his other contemporaries from the same label, use like anime like original characters that they commission or they drawn themselves as like their profile avatar. And I really like that expression of using like a like a virtual character. Like virtual tubers is kind of the same concept where you're using like this mascot, like this is actually the face of what our music is, not us. And I had I was inspired by my OC personally from Nadia from Secret of Blue Water, which is a 90s anime series, as well as like uh Rumio, the author who did like Inuyasha, as well as like Ramana, like that very big hair, but still very cutesy like 90s aesthetic. And so that's like what was my biggest inspiration. Like, and I wanted to make her, like more like Latina flavor because hence the Valley in the ValleySwerve, trying to make that like, like our own like domestic appearance in the form of anime. And that's like
Yeah.
something I really wanted to do, especially the hoop earrings, like have to have like the big brown hair and like of course the tan skin, because I was like, we need a tan anime character as like our symbol. And that's just kind of like in a weird way, she's like a represent like a gender bend or like femme expression of myself personally, who have just kind of like illustrated that the like I've drawn some of the artwork. I've had like the main full body artwork that was a commission from our dear friend Ricky, who uh had paid for that for us, which was really nice. I love that one too. And then some of the other like cutesy doodles, that was other artists. So just like we own the idea, and but just having like of different flavors of visuals and stuff that we want to incorporate. It just takes a lot of time to get this stuff drawn, and even me personally, I take forever to draw too. So there's a lot of
Yeah, we're
artwork
trying.
of
Yeah.
trying to like go into the merchandising with her, because I
Yeah.
think it's a like kind of like a marketable fact. Like we want to like really market it. Like I still dream of her being like that Miku plushie, just like a cutesy toy version and stuff. That's our little
Yeah, we're hoping to get
merchandising we
one
can get.
Valley Chan artwork for every day of the year. Still working on that one.
Yeah, calendars or something, body pillows, we'll see. But yeah, that's
Does she have her own theme?
well, she we were producing a debut album, like Valley Chan debuts, Here Comes Valley Chan, kind of like 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 in Japanese Idol
Oh, like Miku?
city, like Miku, like she
Yeah.
has like, or Idol Master, Love Life, they have like character albums. That's kind of like what we wanted to do, and have like a voice actor. I'm actually working on like in a faux like dating sim intro as
Oh my
like
gosh.
kind
It's
of like a
cool.
like I want to do all this like as like it's kind of what we want to incorporate in this film. We could talk a little bit about it.
Just don't spoil too much of it.
Yeah, I suppose too much, but yeah, that's the idea. Like just branding her in like date like toys, mostly t-shirts, obviously stickers. But yeah, as far as like her own, like she is her own like entity, her own artist, and like who has songs. Yeah, like theme songs and all that were in the works for sure. It's just been a slump of a year because of, man, this first quarter post like all the vaccine COVID stuff. It just
Yeah.
never kind of ended. Yeah, it just feels like 2020 part two. But yeah, and it's a sad excuse for why we didn't finish most of this stuff. And stuff kept on piling up.
Speaking about actually that in particular, because I know that you mentioned in the beginning of like the show how a lot of people took advantage because of this like huge renaissance period of just artists wanting to get stuff out there. How hard has it been for you as like an artist, like throughout the whole entire like pandemic?
Well, I mentioned this in Ramus's podcast from last year that the last job I did, I quit because I wanted to pursue this full time. And I know there's been a few other people locally who have also embraced like the dare I say, self-entrepreneur lifestyle, but like CDR. Um, I relied too much on stream revenue as like a main source of income, but gaming the algorithm obviously has its ups and downs, and especially when you don't when you see a trend and then it starts to fall, you don't understand quite why, and then you have to research your listener data, like why people aren't listening, or is it because I'm not being active on social media? And quite honestly, I attribute that to just some personal stuff in my life that's happened that I've kind of had like a slump, and just with uh with my own personal health, that I was not keeping up the content. And what's difficult is like, especially me trying to do this as like a self-employed artist, especially in like this kind of like post-pandemic scenario or mid-pandemic scenario. It's just like I have to constantly keep on working on stuff. If not, the like SEO, the data, like the algorithm will drop us. And it's hard, like, even personally for you, I'm pretty sure even with RGV Rocks and having to put these episodes on such a, like, you scheduling us like a whole month in advance to interview, like, yeah, like you yourself know, like every online creator knows that without a rigorous schedule, we all kind of fall prey to being dropped by YouTube and Google and Spotify and Apple and what's relevant. And that itself is such a challenge without having, like, of course, if I went back to, I feel like if I went back to my last job, I'm gonna be dividing my time too much, and I personally have a hard time focusing. And I know for a lot of artists, like, they have to balance like work and income, especially now, like, where unemployment is just so fluctuating. It's just, like, where do you set time? How much time will you set for yourself, and then for your project, and then for, obviously having to eat and pay bills. And um and I feel like we have, like, artists here have been like prioritizing more of the work now, or like, where I personally have goofed off a lot. And I'm just like, what, I feel like the only thing that's really important to me is obviously financial success, but also like pushing this and like just working on this alone and no other hobbies. And it's just a lot of commitment and having to divide your personal life to what is important. So I feel like that's the real struggle that's kind of like birthed, like I said, the Renaissance here, and seeing that more currently, because like a lot of shows being booked and trying to be more enthusiastic while still being safe, of course, social distancing. I'm sorry that was such a long tangent, but I guess
No, it's fine.
yeah, it was very like lore, like expositional. I was like, okay, I guess just to be as
Origin story of Eno.
Origin, yeah.
uh Going into what's it called, because going into actually music, let's be honest, do you guys have any favorite tunes that you have written of like yourselves? Like, do you have any like of your favorites or any specific album
The
that you like?
Onism album, which was the last full length that we had, that was a huge passion project that I was trying to finish before Halloween. But I had I, I have YouTube vlogged about how my hard drive, which had the whole album, crashed, and so I had to get this backup. We invested in a network storage unit, to back up everything, routinely in a cloud or on a physical hard drive. And but the whole lore behind that is explained in my vlog about the NAS review in my YouTube. So if y'all want to check it out, but shorthand story is like that was such a like stressful but like very like endearing project that I want to do. And the reason why I'd say that's still my favorite and probably best work I feel critically is because like the whole concept of trying to recreate this early 2000s Japanese horror soundtrack aesthetic. And I feel like, because like, as conceptually, like, we try to make the albums very conceptual, like a very like a connected theme. And that's my personal favorite. I'm sorry, I haven't let Shay talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Sorry, my connection's been a little wobbly. No, but those are great answers. Man, so you said favorite song or beat? Oh man,
he's made with the majority of the catalog, to be honest. So he's got a lot to choose from.
Oh man, I've been a little more active this year. Yeah, last year I also had personal reasons that kind of kept me away from the project. And starting this year, 2021, I made it a priority to come back. So I know I've been handling a lot of the Spotify weekly releases, so that could kind of focus on some other maybe higher level projects. But man, it's gonna sound cliche, but first, I love all my songs almost like my kids, so it's gonna be hard. However, if I had to pick one, this one that's coming up with Italia for Mirafest, not gonna lie, when Eno and I did the, because we started with the beat, right, the instrumental, and we did it pretty quick, actually, pretty quick by our standards. So we were really happy and almost impressed about that. But when we sent it out to Italia and we got the vocals back, man, we were blown away. And it was next level stuff. And I'm really excited because that sound, and correct me here if I'm speaking out of terms, but I would say it's kind of some future funky disco, new disco, however you want to call it. And that's exactly the sound we've been trying to expand into, just so we can know how to do it and all that. And it's been one of our first attempts at that, and I'm really happy with the results. So as of right now, that's the one I'm gonna go with. Ask me in 2 months, the answer will probably be different, but as of right now, I'd say that is a strong contender.
Wow. Because you mentioned the new song that's coming out. Are there any more projects that the fans should know about that's coming up?
Well, unless Shay wants to talk about some stuff. Yeah.
Let me think here. And that's definitely been a big one. Sorry, what's that?
I'll let you have the floor for the next 15 minutes. I overtalked here, so.
No, it's fine. I mean, I've been exploring doing a couple slowed in reverb remixes. That's not really like a full composition because I'm not really writing anything new. But I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but slowed in reverb is pretty big on YouTube. It's when they take a song, slow it down, add reverb, and it really. And they also changed the key, which for me is a big deal because not every key sounds the same. Like A minor is not the same as F sharp minor, and it's not the same as C minor, etc. And I personally love that type of remix because it takes a song we all know and presents it in a completely different light, and it almost like it unlocks a different dimension to the song, and that's always something I've been a big fan of. I'll just pull up I mean, any song really, you can probably find a slowed in reverb remix. So I know I've been working on that. Nothing's been released yet, but we'll hopefully be putting a couple things out here. Other than that, I mean, we upload one song every week on Spotify. So that's technically an ongoing project. We've been exploring kind of the lo-fi chill hop wave for now. That's a sound we like, but we're probably, I think, going to try and expand into maybe more disco. So we'll see we'll see on that, but yeah, I'd say that's the main projects we got going on right now.
Okay, and what's it called? Do you have any advice for people that want to start producing their own music or just be an artist in general?
A lot of YouTube tutorials. Watch a bunch.
Get Ableton.
Oh well, yes, yeah, we're shills for that.
Yeah, we're not sponsored, but we wouldn't mind being sponsored. But no, any good production software. I mean, off the top of my head, FL Studio is a huge one. Ableton's big. Cubase, Logic, GarageBand. You can do a lot. GarageBand, yeah. You can do a lot of cool stuff on that. I personally, I like. At the risk of sounding like a nerd, I'm a fan of music theory, and even though I don't know much, I think I know personally it's helped me a lot in my.
Okay, to be honest, you know way more than
short career, budding career as a musician, because it allows you to understand what you're doing. You don't need to know it, and there's a lot of ways these days you can do without, but I like to think it kind of helps, so that's not a bad thing. And yeah, just being consistent and regular, because as Eno said, the algorithm or whatever is something we all have to deal with, whether we like it or not. And those algorithms are just made in such a way that if you don't upload one song, beat, whatever, every week or so, then you just don't get featured as much, and it makes your life a little harder. Makes it a little harder to be known and listened to. So there's not one silver bullet. There's not one magic answer, but knowing a little bit about music, knowing a little bit about networking, kind of putting yourself out there, being able to make basic artwork too, because obviously you need to have some type of image that people can recognize you. We have ValleyChan, thankfully, and that's really helpful actually. So it's a little bit of everything, I'd say.
Okay, and how can your fans, actually listeners, get access to y'all's music?
We could easily just go to valleyswerve.com. It has all our hyperlinks to literally Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. Our handle at ValleySwerve is uniquely that on every single platform. Like we don't have any different spelling.
ValleySwerve.
Literally, just Google us ValleySwerve and you will find it. Like we're perfectly optimized. Like no cap. Like we have a little like knowledge panel. You know, it's easy. Just Google. Actually, simplest question answer. Just Google ValleySwerve. That's it.
And where can you find y'all at, specifically you two, like separately?
YouTube. We have our channel. YouTube/C/ValleySwerve. So that's the same thing. We were lucky, very lucky, to find such a unique combination of two words that has not been taken on any platform. And so, by God, if someone, I hope they don't just troll us and like take it on some new coming thing like ELO or something and just be like, ha.
Yeah, whatever the next TikTok is or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, TikTok.
Oh yeah, follow us on TikTok too.
Yeah, we're on TikTok. All our songs officially released are also mirrored on the sound library on TikTok. So please, if you like to use our songs in any of your really fun TikToks, go rightfully ahead. We get paid, so please.
Hey.
Yeah, also Instagram stories. It was the Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. Same thing. Yep.
Wow.
We're just chilling it out there. We got some fun music, I swear.
I swear. What's it called? Probably in a bit, I'm probably gonna make a TikTok and just make like. I'm just gonna put the
great. I would love
sound.
that. Honestly, I'll use it for the promo.
Oh my gosh. But seriously though, thank you so much for joining us here today on our interview for RGV Rocks. It's been a while since like I've been, available because of like school and stuff like that. And actually, speaking of which, now that I can officially say this, what's it called? Be sure to tune in sometime later because we are switching well, not technically switching stations. We're gonna be what's it called, branding into another station. So RGV Rocks is gonna be on not only one but two stations as well. So please look at our Insta, Facebook, and Twitter, and for more information about that. So before anything, I wanted to remind you all that we are sponsored by the historic Cine El Rey Theater, dedicated to preserving the past for the future. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us here today on RGV Rocks. Before we go, I would like to ask you guys to check us out or learn more about what we do on our show, and just make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's RGV Rocks for Facebook and Instagram, and it's for Twitter, it's Rocks RGV. I especially want to remind anybody that is listening, thank you for listening. Do you guys have any shout outs before we leave?
Yeah, RGV Rocks, of course. Thank you for having us. Honestly,
thank you.
Been a great interview, and yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Let me go do my whole long list. I'm just kidding. Off the top of my head, thank you, Ramus Media. You guys for featuring, going to be the first blog to feature us. RGV Rocks also for being our earlier interview ever. And shout outs to at Pillow Snake 956, Andres Sanchez, at Mita MIRAAA FEST Medifest. That is the official Instagram handle for upcoming updates for that festival in August 21st at the McAllen Incubator, and as well as Tropicasta for being the first venue to hold us for live shows, and Grass-Fed, A Bunny Product by a lot of people, I Kill Techno, CD, and all my homies.
Rhythmo Lab, Phantom Lux, Toy Mandala, Ableton again.
Ableton. They will not see this, but if they did, that'd be great. But
they could at least hear it. That'd be great. Yeah, we'll circle back on that one. Italia, of course, for great vocals.
For being an amazing collaborator.
Yeah. Great to work with. Honestly,
and also
really responsive.
Yes, I'm so sorry. There is one very, very significant project that we forgot to mention that is upcoming, and I'm so sorry we did not mention it. At Wallow 2K, our debut collab tape, which is going to be really, really hype, 2K Swerve, which will debut hopefully in October. From between now and then, you will see an amount of singles and promos, which actually he released one of them, which we already collaborated, Vampiro, which he released last week. It's on Spotify and Apple, and at Wallow 2K
Yeah,
WALLO.
big shout out to
2K.
Wallow. Great,
Wallow
great
has
guy.
been an amazing collaborator. We produced an entire tape for him, all our beats. Mostly, Shay did most of them, so he's the master behind that one for sure. He got the sound just as we wanted. He loves the beats, and we're very thankful to collaborate with him. And it's going to be a very, very big drop. We will also be shilling that on our media a lot too. So yeah, 2K Swerve debuting in October at Wallow 2K on Instagram, as well as he's on Spotify and Apple, the same name, and he's also the mastermind behind Play TV, Play exclamation TV on YouTube. He is a big curator of a lot of Texas-based rap artists. He does still does music videos. You can hire him for music videos as well. He's produced for music videos for Italia. He's produced music videos for uh, uh, quite a lot of artists I can't think of at the moment. But yes, Play TV, huge channel, one of the biggest channels based out of the RGV, and honestly Texas. So thank you. Huge shout out to Wallow 2K.
All
Yeah,
right.
and last little thing, I think it's Mira Media Fest actually. I think on Instagram their handle. I don't know. Look up both. In case you can't find Mira Fest.
I'm so
or
sorry we
Mira
didn't look this
Media
up.
Fest. No, it's fine. Sorry.
It's okay.
This is the biggest shout out like outro ever. Like, man, these guys we're definitely gonna cut all this.
No,
crap out.
I've had
Yeah,
different
yeah.
shows where it's like they give a long list. Oh, who was it who actually gave a list? I can't remember. But we had
Right.
we had one person. It was like was it season 2 that had a long list, and we were at the station. They actually had like a list of people that they wanted
And
to
print
like
it out.
yeah.
Damn.
I was like what? Anyway, I can't remember who it was, but shout out to that person. But
The whole familia, bro. You know, just all of them. My Theo, my second cousin, who I haven't seen since like 2 family reunions.
oh my gosh. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us here today for RGV Rocks. If you guys are listening to this today, well, technically today, it is coming out on Thursday. We're possibly going to have more interviews coming up, so be sure to check that out. But I want to especially remind everybody and give a special shout out that thank you to ValleySwerve, both y'all. I especially want to give a special shout out to everyone listening to KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City. I will be here next time. So see ya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.